And if, say, this fight does go on land, Namor does have a flight advantage too, because he's able to fly as well.
Yes, that is true. He can fly.
Because he has like wings on his ankle. I don't know how that works. How does
Yeah,
how does that work?
I don't know. I didn't get the gist of it myself. That is weird. But the good news is Aquaman may not be completely outmatched because, like I said, he's gone toe to toe with Superman, Diana, and John Jones, who can also fly. So I don't really think Namor's flying abilities will really deter him and be a huge disadvantage. I think it'll make the playing field more better since Namor can fly, so he can arguably keep his distance from Aquaman.
I also found out that Namor also has a healing factor as well.
Yes, he does.
But only if he's in the water, though. That's only if he's in the water. That's when he can be able to heal faster than normal human beings and even Atlanteans as well because he's a hybrid.
Yes, Aquaman's the same thing, same way. Aquaman also has a healing factor. Although whether or not it works best on land or in water, I can't really say. I mean, if I had to give an example, right now I've been watching the Justice League cartoon for my own personal reasons, and when Aquaman was injured by a rocket launcher, the only way to have him make a full speedy recovery was to have him be treated by kind of like those tubes that you saw in Empire Strikes Back that they put Luke Skywalker in. It's kind of like that, where they put Aquaman in there, and in just, I don't know, a few hours or a few minutes, he was able to fully recover after that. So I guess if I'm to take that, I think it is implied that his healing factor is a little slower on land, but it works way faster if he's underwater. But that's just an educated guess. I can't say for certain.
Right. So let's talk about some of their weaknesses. As we know that they do need water to survive, even though they can go on land for long periods of time, they still need water to replenish themselves. Especially Namor. Namor needs constant water. Not like he's going to water all the freaking time, but he can't last as long as Aquaman. So that could be a factor. The other thing is that if Namor is hit by any type of heat-based weaponry, like a heat ray or something like that, it will make him dehydrate quicker.
Yes.
Whereas Aquaman is actually resistant to heat weapons and heat attacks.
Yes, he is. And Aquaman, one time, I can't remember where this was from, so pardon the non-context here, but one time Aquaman was so resistant to heat that he was actually able to swim in lava. And as you know, that is like, obviously, if you put any other Atlantean or human being in there, they're toast. Like, it's not even a question. But in terms of their weaknesses, Namor is more dependent on water than Arthur, because most of Arthur's life, he didn't seem like he needed water. I mean, I don't doubt he drank it or he went for a swim here and there, but it wasn't like he needed it so bad. Whereas Namor, he definitely needs it, even though both of them can do pretty fine on land. Aquaman, as you said, doesn't need to solely be in the water. He can survive in both land and water. It's just water helps him more than anything. But also, too, there's another weakness they both share, and this also has something to do with water. Once they're both on the surface land, the powers that they have don't work as well when they're on land. So say if they wanted to fire kinetic bubbles at each other, they can't do that while they're on land because they need the water and the currents to be able to do that. Or say if they were far away from water, let's say if they're in a desert and one of them wanted to summon a tsunami, they can't do that because there's no water there. But
they need a source of water. They can't just come up with water out of the thin air, pretty much.
Exactly, yeah. But the other thing I would say, I think this affects Namor more than it does Aquaman, because even though Aquaman, while he admits he needs the water in order to fight the way he does, he's still shown that he retains most of his Atlantean physical abilities, like impervious to pain, impervious to heat, super strength, durability, and he's even still fast on land. He was actually able to speed blitz Wonder Woman in a fight, and he was not in water. So I would say it's more of a detriment to Namor, because also too with Namor, if he's not in water at a specific time, it also causes his behavior to act out. Like, he needs the water in order to maintain himself. Otherwise, he'll go crazy.
Right.
So
they say that he has like some kind of bipolar, that he's kind of bipolar or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So that could be a factor. So like I was saying, I think Namor is at his weakest when he's on land. If you're going to have him fight against someone like Aquaman. But I know a lot of people are going to say, like, how would Aquaman know about this weakness? Well, I was thinking of that too until I found out that Aquaman has a strong connection to a phenomenal force known as the Clear. It's sort of similar with like Swamp Thing have a strong connection to the Green, where he has control of all vegetation and plant life. Aquaman has that type of similar connection only when it comes to marine life. So he has a strong connection to marine life, as well as with this connection to the Clear. He also has some mental abilities as well. Like, he can do mind probing, reading minds, and a lot of other things that has to do with the mind. So I'm thinking that he could be able to read Namor's mind and find out that his weakness is being on the surface for so long, and he might use that to his advantage.
Yes, but I know those of you are thinking, well, wait a minute, didn't you both just say he trained with the X-Men? So if that's the case, wouldn't he have had some help from Charles Xavier to resist mind control? Well, bear in mind, we don't know if that's the case, because just because you trained with the X-Men, that doesn't arguably mean you're going to get a lesson from Professor Xavier to help guard your mind against probing or mental attacks. So I don't think he's immune to telepath attacks. As far as I know, unless in a recent issue they said, oh yeah, no, thanks to Charles Xavier and Jean Grey, his mind is impervious to mental attacks. But I think it's safe to assume he's not. So yeah, all he has to do is just read his mind. And I know a lot of people love to joke, oh, well, Aquaman can talk to fish. Like, what's the big deal about that? It's a guy who can talk to fish, this and that. I'm like, guys, he can do more than talk to the fish.
Yeah.
He can summon sharks. He can summon octopuses. And yes. And the great thing about it is, oh, okay, yeah.
No, I just want to let you know that's how you say more than one octopus is octopi.
Oh, okay, yeah, octopies, but also too, the water currents help him talk to fish. Like, a lot of people seem to get that wrong. When people say he can talk to fish, he doesn't actually like speak with them. He uses his mental powers to guide them through. It's sort of like he's using the water currents in conjunction with his telepathy to communicate with them. Right. So he can pretty much do that anytime he wants. Now, Namor can do the same thing, but since Aquaman has a better connection to the ocean, marine biology than him, then it's reasonable to assume Aquaman can pretty much summon a whole army of fish or different sea life creatures, some that are common, and maybe some that aren't common. For all we know, he can summon Cthulhu if he really wanted to.
Maybe.
You never know.
So, because of his connection to the Clear, I think it's safe to assume that if, say, they had a battle of, like, say, an army of marine life versus an army of marine life, I think, like, Namor's marine life might turn against Namor. Because
That's true. Yeah.
Because of Aquaman's connection to the Clear. And I know a lot of people are thinking, like, what is this Clear? I already mentioned what the Clear is, sort of similar to the Green, or kind of similar to the Speed Force, if you will.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Like DC has those weird, phenomenal occurrences or something like that. Like these.
Yeah, no, they definitely do. So yeah, if this, it's like you said, if they were to just have a Marine versus Marine fight, Namor's army would turn on him faster, and plus two, Aquaman can summon more and more Marine life. Again, there is essentially no limit to how many marine biology creatures he can summon. Whereas with, and I'm not saying there's a limit to Namor's, but I'm just saying it would be a detriment to Namor and an advantage to Aquaman, because once again, if they're underwater and Namor sends all of the marine life he can find against Aquaman, Aquaman's just going to turn them against him, like in a matter of seconds.
In my opinion, I really think that the trump card is Aquaman's connection to the clear. And I think that's what's going to help him win this battle against Namor.
Yeah, I would say so. I think Aquaman has, even though they're both damn equals, damn even, Aquaman has way more advantages with his connection to the clear, with his natural biology, and him being able to be on both land and in water for long periods of time, more than Namor. And plus two, the fact that Aquaman has done more than Namor. Namor has gone toe-to-toe with the toughest of Marvel, but Aquaman has gone toe-to-toe with the toughest of DC. And as you guys should know by now, when it comes to DC and their characters, they are far, far more powerful in terms of what they can do, what they can exert, and how much they can take. Namor is going to put up a great fight. I think Namor definitely will give Aquaman a run for his money. And who knows, maybe he'll be able to get some good hits in, maybe even a stab wound here or there. But I don't think it's going to be enough to deliver the killing blow. I really think Aquaman has way too many advantages and way too many tricks up his sleeve to fall that easily to Namor.
Exactly. I feel the same way. And just to make clear, people, I know some people are going to ask, are they going to use feats from the animated series of the Justice League, where Aquaman has one hand and he has a hook that actually shoots, and it kind of like a rope and stuff. I doubt that. I doubt they're going to be using that version of Aquaman. What do you think?
Well, it's funny because I do think they'll definitely, they won't be using that as the primary version, but they will include it because, as you guys know, Death Battle loves to compilate different characters and their incarnations into one particular version that would win the majority of the time. And Aquaman has a lot of incarnations. Like, as you said, he has his Justice League counterpart, which unlike, I would say, the animated series characters, the animated series version of Aquaman is not that weak. As far as I know, he's just as strong as his comic book counterpart. Right. You have the New 52 one, you have the pre-Crisis one, pre-52 one. You have all these different versions of Aquaman, and just from what I gathered, they're all more or less the same character. Nothing's really changed about them. So that really could come into play if they give him even more abilities than they did for Namor, because Namor, even though he's been rebooted a couple of times, he's more or less still the same character. Like, but it's not a advantage for him like it is for Aquaman, because as far as I know, Namor still hasn't been retconned of his weaknesses.
Right. And one more thing. I know some people are going to mention about Namor's connection to the Phoenix Force is pretty much similar to Jean Grey's connection to the Phoenix.
Yeah.
There was a version of Namor where he had a connection to the Phoenix Force, but that got discontinued. So I think Death Battle might mention that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we definitely will. But yeah, guys, starting off season 6, both of us are going for Aquaman.
But anyway, guys, thank you for watching us, watching this video and giving our predictions. And of course, as always, feel free to give us your predictions, your thoughts on who you think is going to win between Namor versus Aquaman. And is there any information that we've missed out? Feel free to leave that down below as well in the comments section. All right. And be sure, guys, to please subscribe to Jedi Bender's YouTube channel and also subscribe to my channel, Do a Dreamer Videos.
Yep. Thank you all so much. We really hope you enjoyed this. We're looking forward to starting off season 6 with a blast, and we can't wait to see what they've got in store for us, and it's going to be great.
All right. So this is Do a Dreamer, and always dream big.
This is the Jedi Benders saying, be air, my friends.